Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Sean, and I'm back with another episode of LFC Footy Talk. So we're here to talk Liverpool versus Burnley. The Reds are back after the international break, the September window that we all dread. The teams are just starting to get their footing down, and then all of a sudden, whoop, little break. But there's more of those to come, so let's not dwell on that. So the Reds are facing off on the road against Burnley. As we know, Burnley have returned to the Premier League after being in the Championship last year. Um, I'm not expecting a lot from Burnley. I anticipate they're going to play extremely a low block defensive game. Probably try to use the counterattack if any opportunity arises for them. But I think they're going to try to just be sound defensively, try to limit Liverpool's opportunities when it comes to the attack, when it comes to them trying to score. They're probably going to play at least a back four, if not potentially dropping another man right in front to kind of be more of a back five to solidify the defense. They're not going to allow Liverpool much gaps or much space when it comes to the attack. But we are talking about the defending Premier League champion, right? So I anticipate the Reds will be well prepared for a team playing that defensive style. Now, when it comes to things like free kicks, corner kicks, our set pieces will be very crucial and important this weekend. And I'm also thinking Arne Slot will probably have a rotated lineup. Yes, we're coming back from the international break, so he may want to give a player or two a little bit of a break as well. Champions League is coming up, so you could see a bit of a rotated lineup. Maybe a player like Chiesa getting some minutes, Endo getting some minutes. Robertson, we haven't seen much of him, so could he get some minutes? So a lot of things could come into play when it comes to how Slot lines the team up. Now, the player that we all wonder and that we all are probably hoping to see on Sunday, at least from a Liverpool supporters' perspective, is Alexander Isak. Slot in his press conference, he didn't really say whether he'll start or not, but sounds like he's not. He's going to kind of slowly bring him in. He's aware that he hasn't really had a preseason, so you don't want to throw him out there for 90 and potentially injure himself. So I anticipate, if anything, Isak will get around 20, 30 minutes in the second half, late game, just to kind of get his footing under him, start building things up with some cohesion with his teammates. I'm sure they're doing that at practice. Going into Sunday's game, pretty sure they're only going to have 2 full practices with the squad. So that would have been Thursday, Friday practice, with majority of the guys back from the break. And that's just not enough time to really get integrated fully with the squad. So again, 20, 30 minutes is what I expect to see out of Isak, and probably similar in the Champions League. Now, again, it all depends on the lineup or, the formation Slot goes with. We're so used to the 4-3-3. So I think he'll stick with that. And most likely, Ekitike hasn't given a reason why he shouldn't continue to start. So, that'll probably be how things are when it comes to Ekitike and Isak for now. But at some point, they could rotate in and out. They could potentially play together. So a lot to wait and see when it comes to that. But back to Sunday's game. Like I said, I expect Isak to get some playing time. But there's a few other players that definitely need to get some playing time. It would be good for them to get some starting minutes. Like I said, Chiesa probably deserves it more with him not being part of the Champions League roster. A game against Burnley would be a good opportunity to give him, a good 60, 70 minutes of playing time. Whether you put him up front in the middle, whether you put him on the wing, he is versatile, so they can kind of play around with how they choose to use him. A player like Endo hasn't really gotten much time, and similar to Chiesa, won't be used as often. Now, he is also a player that can play in that center back role. We know that. Not probably what we want, where we want to see him play, but we know, he's flexible and available for where Slot needs him. But I'd like to see him get some minutes in the midfield. Maybe even give Wirtz a bit of a break. He hasn't had the greatest start to the season, so before he gets into his own head, maybe give him a break. But on the flip side, a team like Burnley could give him the opportunity to unlock that, that spark that he needs to kind of get things flowing for him, really to get used to connecting with his teammates. I'm confident that will happen, but you know what? Sometimes just give him a little bit of time. Every player adapts differently. but he definitely needs to start to get his butt in gear. Outside of that, you know what? Sabazala, you can't drop him. He's just been outstanding. Whether you put him back in the midfield, whether you drop him right back, you know, he can do either or. Frimpong and Bradley, I believe, are both healthy, so you know that's also an option. We haven't seen them in a bit, so Slot could use either of them. Some of the young guns like Trey Neone is Sunday a game where he gets some minutes in the midfield. I don't think Slot does wholesale changes. I see him 3 to 4 max. You know, Georgie, does he go in net over Allison? Like to see him soon. So there's so many questions of who Slot could potentially play, knowing, you know, you're going up against Burnley. The team should be quite confident just that they can secure the 3 points on the road. So, and you know what? It shouldn't matter who he puts out there. Every player on this roster should have the mentality that we're Liverpool FC, we're going to win every game. Our goal is to play it, you know, play with that confidence and that mentality week in, week out. So whoever he calls upon, I expect him to have that mindset when walking out on the pitch. So regardless, last year we saw some games where he kind of maybe threw out too many bodies at one shot that weren't, you know, haven't really played together. And that's another factor. When you make too many wholesale changes, these guys, you know, these players, they practice together, but if they haven't, you know, had a 3-4 days of really focusing as a starting 11 mindset, it might be a little difficult. So 3 to 4 might be the easiest way to kind of just bring certain players in. You know, player like Robertson, it'll be like nothing. Endo similar. So, you know, you have that. You won't be too off the mark if you have players like them starting versus the usual candidates. So that's it for this week. Liverpool heading to Turf Moor to face off against Burnley. What's your take? Who's your pick? What do you think is going to happen, folks? Are we going to get another clean sheet? I think so. So, like I said, 2-0 is what I'm predicting. We'll score, you know what, around the 30-something minute in the first half, and then maybe around the 60, 70 minutes in the second. Ideally, you know what, Ekitike and Isak score goals, but at the same time, I think I'd like to see Salah start to get going. So, you know, if it ends up being, you know, where Liverpool's on the front foot from early, let's get Salah going, because once we get him going, he's that spark plug that can really, you know, set things off for this club. So, what's your predictions? Leave a comment for me. Let me know what you think, folks. Give me your take. And make sure, if you aren't already, hit that subscribe button. Help a brother out, trying to grow my channel, Liverpool fans. And of course, don't forget to like. Take care. That's it for me, your boy Sean, here on LFC Footy Talk.